Okay, back home now. Maybe I can get some...
Record?
Sweet mercy, right, I need to do that. Okay, what can I, Disney put out a new Star Wars series. How is it? Oh no. Oh no, this is not good.
I've seen a few of those old films, the original 12 at least. None of the weekly entertainments, though.
12? How many are there?
I don't know. A lot.
Oh, okay then. Well, how about we, talk about a Star Wars TTRPG. Age of Rebellion is the most recent one by the time this video comes out by Fantasy Flight Games. Though I argue that Saga is better, but that's because Saga is based off the 3.5 system. This game is set during the events of the original trilogy, Star Wars, The Empire Strikes Back, and Return of the Jedi. I will not be calling the original movie A New Hope. I refuse. Looking at this book, it seems to use a D10 system like Cyberpunk or the real World of Darkness games. It recommends everyone has 2 with them during gameplay. There's apparently an app to roll dice for you, and there's also specially made dice with unique icons in order to better tell you what shit means or does. I don't know, every time a game wants specially marked dice, I dock some points because it's harder to get people into it, and asks you to buy more stuff. Weirdly enough, flip the page, and it says you need more than just D10s. Looks like you need 2 different sets of D6s, D8s, and D12s. This apparently is a dice pool game too. So this book is already contradicting itself within 4 pages. This is already an insanely complex game too, it seems. There seems to be 4 categories of dice: positive, negative, force, and the 10-sided. Why the last one doesn't have a special name, I don't know, it's weird. Each has special markings that mean various different things. I am not going to talk about these dice. Each thing, other than the force dice, have at least 3 different markings. Each mark means something different, so it's just a lot of time to talk about dice alone. Page 20 and 21 of the CRB if you're curious. But now we get into the mechanics of the game. Unfortunately, the 2 paragraphs telling me about the basic dice pool says nothing other than there is a dice pool. Then it gets into character stats and stuff. Characteristics are listed first. It talks about how they work for a bit, saying that different alien species can change these things. Their ratings go from 1 to 6. In some cases, certain NPC monsters and aliens get much higher than that. We've got agility, which is your ability to twist. Brawn is your brute force. Cunning is your reflex and quick thinking. Intellect is your judgment and headspace. Presence is your charisma. And willpower is your mental strength. It then goes into difficulty levels. But the fact that this game is already confusing makes me wonder how this works. Like, it shows markings, but the dice in question, the D10s we're told to use, don't have special marks like everything else. The table in question implies that there's markings that we're looking for, but the dice in the picture are just the normal 1 through 10 numbers. The next few pages explain all of these things, but the whole thing is confusing as sin. Don't know why, but okay. I want to point out that it's almost 40 pages of just explaining the system, which, in my opinion, is a bit of a problem. That's an insane amount of pages just to explain how to roll dice, so that's some points docked there. Now, let's get into character creation. Luckily for us, Star Wars has a ton and a half of options. If you've played Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic, which is based off the 3.5's D&D system, this is obviously is not, but let's hope that there are still options there. 10 steps for character creation, so we'll have to rapid fire some of them. They're as follows: background, duty, species, career and specialization, experience spending, attributes, motivation, gear, and resources. Most of these are easy to jump over as they're more roleplay or setting specific. Now, I'm about halfway through my script, but I want to point out that each of these steps go into multiple pages for each step. So I'll have to rapid fire with this somewhat. Background is mostly story based, but I like that this is first instead of last, like so many. It helps you choose, really, everything about your character. What you did before, how you got into the rebellion, and what you can do. It sets it all up. Next is determine duty. Now, this is not like a class. It's more like a role in the group. Pilot, commander, mechanic, communications, and such. There's values you can assign to your duty that can let you do different things. Essentially, it's your reputation score. It's nice to have, but I feel it's unnecessary, really. Next up is species. There's a lot of species in Star Wars, from droids, which are arguably sentient, to humans, to Zabraks, to just about everything. This part gives you a list of them, and it's a long list, tells you how many wounds they have, how much stress they can take, how many experience points they can spend, along with starting characteristics, special abilities, and such. 7 species are in the core rulebook, but I know for a fact this game has expansion, so there's more. Afterwards, we go to career and specializations. Career is like your class, with specialization being your subclass. It recommends picking one based off your duty and role in the group, which is a good idea. We've got 7 careers, each with a talent tree that chooses your specialization, like WoW before Miss Pandaria. The Ace is your jack of all trades but master of none. Commander is your buffer and leader character. Diplomat is your party face. Engineer is your repairs and crafting guy. Soldier is your fighter. Spy is your stealth guy. And recruit is essentially your universalist, with only one tree in the CRB. Experience points are then spent, used to improve characteristics, boost skills, gain talents, or get new specialization points, up to a certain point at character creation. There's a table recommending how many points they get, plus race, per how many players there are. Determine derived attributes is pretty straightforward. Your race tells you strain and wounds, while defense is gained by gear, and soak is determined mostly by your brawn, but also sometimes gear and abilities and talents. The first 3 are obvious what they do, but soak essentially lets you reduce damage you take before calculating how much you've taken. Motivation is your reason for going on, no need to go into that. Gear is obvious, but then there's acquiring rebellion resources, which is a lot of stuff. It essentially uses that reputation, career, and background to determine what you have at your disposal in the rebellion. Now, this stuff is not yours. It's the rebel scum stuff, so don't go breaking it. You'll need to return it. Now, the score I have to give this game is not great. It's a whole lot of confusion in a game that should be fairly simple. I give it about a 69% score. Its problems are major issues. The game takes so long to explain anything, it's difficult to get anyone into it. But it's a setting so well known, it'll at least provoke curiosity. But no, I just got back from my sister's wedding. Don't ask how I got there and back. I still don't understand this shit, so shove off.